Well, it's 2017. This is the first video of it. I had intended to go fishing, but as you can see, my New Year's plans kind of got shelved. Where I fish at, it's only open this time of year. It's only open until or from Thursday through Sunday, and I had intended to go and woke up and found the vehicles completely snowbound. It wasn't very deep, but where I go fishing at Bennett Springs, Missouri, or Bennett Spring, Missouri, if you're from Texas like I am, I've had to learn how to pronounce the name right, so that my neighbors don't shoot me for mispronouncing the name. Yes, they still do that up here. I love fishing. Just absolutely love it. In fact, you'll see where I fish at. Looking downstream from Zone 3 at the Whistler Bridge, and the smallmouth are just stacked up in there. It'll be coming up here in a couple of minutes. I've just got the video slideshow on loop, so don't worry about it. You'll see the same pictures over and over and over again. You'll see that the picture from Bennett Spring is obviously taken back in December, which is I'm fine with that. If you're not, well, I'm sorry. But again, I wanted to talk a little bit today because I get asked by a particular friend of mine. Yes, Marty, this is for you. He's wanting to get into hunting and fishing, and he asks me all the time, hey, Tex Mo, what do I look for? What do I fish with? What do I need to get as far as a rod and reel goes? And I told him to basically do what I first did. And now understand that I did this 40 years ago almost. I basically was given a Zebco 33, a little tackle box with a bunch of, really cheap jigs, worms, and hooks. As time went on, I spent more money on my fishing and less money on toys because, hey, that's what I wanted to do. So when I was about 10 years old, actually I was about 10, maybe 11. I purchased a Big O. And it was a black-backed, blue-bodied Big O. I bought it primarily because I thought it looked cool. Not necessarily because I thought it'd catch fish. I just thought it looked cool. I also bought a blue-backed, white-bodied Big O. Now, the Big O that I had bought with the black back and a blue body was a 1/4 ounce, and the blue back with the white body was 1/8 of an ounce. And I loved them. I love those two lures. I caught fish after fish after fish out of my grandfather's stock tank in East Texas. And my grandfather, in the spring of '84, spring break of '84, took my brother, because my mother was fighting cancer that would claim her life before the next year was done. My grandfather had taken my older brother fishing, and then he brought my older brother back, took me fishing the following week, and my older brother had gone to a well-known lake east of Athens with my grandfather, and it's Athens, Texas, not Athens, Georgia. And this well-known local individual owned a rather large stock lake, if you will. It was probably 2 acres, if I remember correctly. Total water surface was probably about 2 acres. But it didn't get fished very often, and when it did, it had a tendency to produce big bass. So my grandfather took my older brother fishing, and 2 years before we'd fished it, and I had pulled out my first 5-pound bass. The next time I went, my older brother, he caught a 4.5-pound bass, and I caught a 5.5-pound bass that trip. But basically, I had spent $6 on these big O's back in '84. And I still have them somewhere in one of my mini tackle boxes. In fact, I know I left those tackle boxes at my dad's back in Texas. But anyway, so for my friend Marty, I'm going to say get a Zebco 33 push button, learn how to cast that, buy some practice plugs, and then go buy $25 worth of worms, hooks, and cheap lures. Buy the worm packs for $10 a piece. You know, if you've got 40 or 50 bucks you can spend, you know, just on lures dedicated, and you could spend $35 on a rod and reel combo, get you a Zebco 33 rod and reel combo, get you a little tackle pack, basically. You know, something with some, you know, tackle trays in it, some lure trays in it, and set yourself up like that. You don't need to go drop $300 in, you know, $8, $9 jerk baits to go fishing and have fun. I recommend to a lot of people that they just buy marabou jigs, especially fishing here at Bennett Springs, where you see there. My boys and I, we fish with jigs of all sorts in the wintertime, and we catch smallmouth galore. I've caught a brown trout on a jig. I've caught a rainbow trout on a jig. I've caught, Aggies can't count the number of bass that I've caught out of there without committing indecent exposure. If you know the Texas Aggie joke, sorry Lake Fork guy, I had to tell it. But yeah, you'll eventually see some videos of me fishing with the wife and the kids and having fun with the family. But that's the one thing I want you guys to understand, is that you need to teach the next generation to fish and to enjoy fishing. You know, I understand kids get bored when they're not catching anything. And dealing with my kids with the ADHD involved, it's even worse. And I just have to remember to push on and show them, hey, look, if you just pay attention, you know, if you focus a little harder, you see the end result. It's just the same in school. A little work, a little focus, and you achieve greatness. And that's what I intend to show my kids. Now, for me, I intend to get Marty down here, and he's in a pretty good bass area when it's not froze over like it is now. You know, he's basically at the headwaters of the Mississippi. He's, you know, I actually kind of envious of him, because he doesn't realize the fishing opportunities that are up there just in the local city and state parks. I've seen it, I know. But you get to see and do a lot of things when you're fishing. I've seen bald eagles. I'd never seen a bald eagle in my life until I went to Bennett Springs. And we were fishing at the Niagara River corner there, or the outflow of the spring into the Niagara River. And we saw a couple of bald eagles. And I thought, man, how great is this? And we had only lived up here a year at that point. Um, Probably my next video, I'm going to be doing some hand lining. I'm going to be throwing some jigs out on floats, letting the current take the jig out and just seeing what it does. And it's got a pretty good current there at Bennett Spring. I love it. I love fishing there, period. You're going to see a lot of my videos come from Bennett Spring, or you're going to see them come from Lake Fellows in Springfield. I intend to eventually do a video at Power Sight Dam between Bull Shoals and Teeny Como, fishing for trout and for walleye there. That'll probably be in March or April when weather warms up a little bit better. I do intend to be doing probably 3, maybe 4 videos in the next 3 to 4 weeks, because I don't get out much when it snows, and especially when it's bitter cold. I'm an older guy. You know, I've got back issues and everything else, and I'll probably do a couple of videos and just, you know, showing you what I have as far as lures go, how I pack it, what I pack it in, what my tournament loadout looks like. As you can see there, my landing net. I sold my boat, but I kept my net. Just one of those things. When I sold my boat, I was dealing with some other issues I'm not going to get into here. But, yeah, needless to say, I sold my boat. I hadn't used it in 3.5 years. No need in me having it. So, yeah, I got sold. But anyway, I just wanted to kind of introduce you to the channel and let you know what I'm doing here. Eventually, I hope that people will watch, and if you're the first, I thank you, and I hope you enjoy it enough. I hope you enjoy the channel enough that you actually reach down, hit the click like, share me on Facebook, share me on Twitter. You know, I'll be doing the same thing probably. But just remember, fishing is not just about yourself and the way that you get away and escape. It's about teaching the next generation that if we don't use the right to do it, we'll lose that right. And it's one of the things that I want everybody to understand, is that if we don't exercise a right, we will lose that right. As a ham radio operator, I came in just right after they took away portions of the 220 megahertz band from the hams. They took the 220 to 222 range away from the amateur radio operator, and now it's 222 to 225 instead of 220 to 225. So if we don't exercise our right to fish in these areas, we'll lose access to these areas. And that'll be a tragedy for all of us. And we're in that type of battle right now. There's multiple places across the U.S. where we're facing that. So just remember, get out and fish. Make your voice heard. Make your presence known. Even if you don't speak up. You know, just your physical body throwing a lure into a body of water. You know, respect private property. Respect people's rights. They'll respect you. Okay? No other way around it. Okay? I've seen a bunch of kids on YouTube showing the no trespassing signs and then going and fishing in places where they were trespassing. That's the wrong message we need to be sending to our kids. We need to teach them the right way to fish and the right way to do it. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm Tex Mo Fishing. Appreciate you watching, and we'll catch you later.